Sin, according to God's word, is not necessarily an act. It is something a lot deeper. Yet, many believers think fornication is the problem. They think adultery is the problem, stealing is the problem, and so on. But you'll be surprised to learn that while acts like adultery, stealing, etc. have been clearly marked in scriptures as sinful acts, God is not as concerned about those acts in his judgment as he is in something much more serious. That something much more serious is what we're going to be discussing in this study. So, let's get to it. Many believers are quick to judge and condemn others, and even themselves when they fall into acts that are generally considered by the body of Christ as sin. But how exactly does God judge? Does he judge merely by looking at the act that was performed by the individual involved, or does he look at something more? Before I proceed though, I'd like to state this clearly. This teaching isn't intended to breed any form of laxity in our consecration to God. Instead, it's intended to make us more grounded as believers, knowing the truth that is able to help us navigate the wiles of the enemy with skill and not fall for his condemnations of our actions or inactions. So please keep Galatians 6 verses 7 and 8 in mind going forward. It says, "Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting." So, no justifications for unrighteous living with statements like God understands. Just knowledge of the truth that helps us stay ahead of the enemy in our walk with God. With that out of the way, let's get to our study. So my point precisely is this: the rightness or wrongness of our actions before God isn't entirely predicated upon any acts, even if those acts are explicitly stated in scriptures or considered by many to be right or wrong. Just stay with me for a bit and I'll be more specific. God doesn't primarily judge you by the act of lying or stealing. He also weighs the heart to understand the motive behind the action. In 1 Samuel 2 and verse 3, the Bible said, "For the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed." Pay attention to the statement. By him actions are weighed. Remember, this prophetic statement was made by Hannah in her praise to God, when God heard her cry, and she received the blessing of childbearing and gave birth to Samuel after offering a selfless prayer to God, having been barren for many years. But what does "by him actions are weighed" really mean? It means God is not as interested in the action as he's interested in the motive behind the action. God is not as interested in the fact that you went to church as much as he's interested in the motive behind your going to church. God is not as interested in the fact that you gave that roadside beggar money as much as he's interested in the motive behind your giving. No wonder he said to Moses, "I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion." Romans 9 verse 15. And no wonder, while the scriptures describe the devil as the accuser of the brethren in Revelation 12 verse 10, the Bible describes God as the one who is able to present us faultless before the presence of his glory in Jude 1 verse 24. In conclusion, let's always remember that God is more interested in our call than in our fall. He doesn't want us to stay down, but to rise up and stay up by his grace. Brothers and sisters, if you were blessed by this revelation, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more. Feel free to also leave your comments, and I'll try to react to each and every one of them. Blessings.